Pastor Aaron, Pastor Jeannie.
Good morning.
This is the last one we're going to do, at least I think, of why we feel like we've made 30 years of marriage. Neither one of us have been married before. This is our only marriage, never divorced. So we're just sharing our 30 years insight of why we think we're still together after 30 years and plan on being together 30 more. So if it could be helpful, I think they'd like to hear what you have to say.
Mm-hmm.
So this one's positive stuff. We discussed too many. I think we were talking too many. Too many people bring marriage into a do and don't. This is do this, don't do that, and they always focus on the trouble, how to get through trouble. But we never really dwell on that because we focused on the good.
Mm-hmm.
So what?
You go right ahead. You're doing well.
She trusts me.
I do.
So, so I had a thought, and I shared it with my son-in-law last night and Jeannie at the same time. That we're down here in Jamaica celebrating 30 years. Is that Jeannie is my church. When I shared that, I said it may sound sacrilegious, but no, we are the church of Jesus. Like we are the church. We are the bride of Christ. We are the church of Jesus. But what's interesting is the first institution of marriage was what? It was marriage. And then I found what gave me that idea is I was reading this, and in Ephesians, Paul compares marriage to Christ and the church. And I'm like getting a sense in my spirit is that my wife is my church, and I pursue her like Jesus pursues the church. That's the revelation I was getting. I know that sounds crazy, but that literally was the first institution was marriage. My whole purpose before I met her was to be married. And that's my whole life, number one.
Mm-hmm.
So we live for the good times.
Oh, yeah. The bad times can be just chalked up to really just fall into our own soulful willfulness, thinking of ourselves, being selfish.
We got better putting down our pride.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what. I live for you. You know, I work a job we both work to provide money so that we could do the things that we want to do together. I think our whole purpose is each other.
Yep.
So we had a few hiccups. She's picking my glasses up. Look at that. So we have a few hiccups along the way. We don't focus on it. We work through it. We look past it because we want to live a whole life together. All the memories.
Mm-hmm.
Like we look forward to like vacations. Sorry, my fault. Vacations. The little things. Sometimes sitting by the bonfire in our backyard.
Mm-hmm.
I want to read something. I want to get Jeannie's thought here. I have to put you on the spot. Listen to how Paul describes marriage. Jeannie is my church based on what Paul teaches. He says this: wives, subject yourselves to your own husbands as to the Lord. He makes one sentence, but then he says, all right, now the good stuff. Listen, husbands is the head of the wife as Christ is head of the church. Christ, head of the church. Me, Jeannie's my church. So what does Christ do, which is what a husband does? He himself being the savior of the body, but as the church is subject to Christ, so also wives ought to be to their husbands. Husbands, love your wives just the way Christ loves the church. How do you think, men, how do you think Christ loves you? Yes, that's how you love your wives. He gave himself up for her. He pursued the church, his wife. What he wants to be the one to sanctify her, to cleanse her with his words. I don't think that's something I'm learning. How important your words are, husbands, to your wives. So husbands also ought to love their own wives as their own bodies. Literally, he's making a point. We become one flesh. That's Genesis, the first institution. So you get my point. My whole life is her. That's it. Christ and I, and then Jeannie. So that's been all good memories for us. Well, now submit your. I'm just curious your thoughts on submit. Wives, submit to your husbands. Let's address that one. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't believe it's where you have to do everything your husband says, because honestly, he's not supposed to boss you around. But you want to. I think it's by your spirit. He's talking about your spirit, that you should be fully in with your husband, full in
Give all your
spiritually.
heart.
Yeah, you give him your entire heart. You don't leave any part of it out without him. Now that doesn't mean that you have to. Oh, well, wife, go get me a beer. I mean, no, you don't. It's not that, because Jesus would never do that. It's just like Jesus. We should follow Jesus.
Example. Yeah.
But he's not forcing you to do anything. It's your choice.
Well, we know Jesus said, "If you love me, keep my commandments." Okay. Now let's apply that to a husband. If you love me, keep my commandments. So what is Jesus' commandments? Did he say, do this, don't do that? He said, if you love me, just trust me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, oh, and love. Jesus said love. But the most important thing, Jesus said, come to me. My burden for you is light. Husbands, if we are like an example of Christ to the church, then to Jeannie, I need to make her burdens light. I don't need to put burdens on her. I'm practicing better at that, because those burdens are nothing. The heavy burdens, that's not the purpose of life. It's just love.
Mm-hmm.
And looking forward to tomorrow. What can we do tomorrow? What are we going to do after work? That's why we're here for 30 years. We've always focused on what are we going to do together.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do stuff together. Want to go to the park? Want to ride a bike? Want to go to the gym? Oh, when's our vacation? We'll talk about vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Christmas is around the corner. What day do we want to go drive, look at lights, that kind of stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you kind of think of?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that anything, thoughts? I did a lot of talking.
You do just fine.
I know.
I'm not much of a talker.
I know you are. Getting you on here is a big plus. I'm excited that she's with my videos, 3 in a row. Been asking her to. She's more, I'm extroverted and she's a little more introverted. Not so much. Only when you get to know her. But she doesn't want to be on the camera, so I'm glad she joined me today.
You're very welcome.
All right, guys. Hope this is helpful to anybody. Live your marriage by your spirit, not by do's and don'ts. Be led by your heart, just as Christians. God bless you guys.